You know what's better than loving books? Hating them.
Beep boop ba-doop ba-doo, ba-doop boop.
Don't lie, watching people get pissed off about books is like most of the reason we're all here. So I have been reviewing books on the internet regularly and with passion since like 2013, which means I was a million years old. Before I actually like became a professional in the book world, I was not necessarily professional in the way that I bashed books on the internet. Oh man, some of them were so bad. I had to delete them because I had bad opinions on things. I used to open my self published books reviews with the sentence, now, I know that you can't really expect quality from self-published books, but... And then I would start tearing it apart. Okay, so I thought it would be fun to read out loud my earliest book reviews that I put onto the internet. Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video belong to 2013 Jaylee and have absolutely no bearing on any policy or position of 2018 Jaylee. Okay? If you want to fight me, build a time machine. I've read 1,113 books on Goodreads, apparently.
Excuse me, what kind of fucking non-reaction was that? I have read over 1,000 books.
I'm doing the lowest rated because those are going to be great. Reviews that start out DNF are just, you know, you're in for a wild ride. Review coming soon. That's not a review. May 2014 me needs to go back and write a review of Fangirl so that I can read it, because I would love to have known what I thought about that book back then, because I think that was one of those books where you liked it or I liked it at the time, and then people were like, this is problematic, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Oops. We have arrived. 2013. Silver by Andrew Motion. Oh, this is a long one. It's not very often that I say a book is really, truly bad, but this book is bad. David Tennant narrated the audiobook, and I was like, David Tennant and pirates, how is this not the greatest thing ever? But alas, just as the movie Tron managed to make Olivia Wilde, the most beautiful woman on earth, look weird, this book managed to make even David Tennant's sexy voice really, really boring to listen to. And there's an asterisk at the end of that sentence. This from someone who used to fall asleep listening to the extended... Will you stop messaging me? Oh my gosh, what do you possibly have to say that is so fascinating right now? The Oriental Casebook of Sherlock Holmes by Ted Riccardi. I couldn't get past the first case in this book. 1. You know it's going somewhere if it's numbered. By the powers of yoga, Holmes can now apparently magically reshape his face/body like he's made out of silly putty. The rest of it is like real bullshit about what the book is about. Who cares about that? 5 Quarters of the Orange by Joanne Harris. She's the one who wrote Chocolat. DNF'd. Joanne Harris writes beautiful literary prose with deep characters and rich settings. I'm just not interested in the boring, sordid details of middle-aged people who hate their lives, no matter how prettily written it is. Literary fiction is really not for me, and I've sort of moved beyond the need to prove something to myself by reading books like this. Well said. Oh no, was this the year that I devolved into werewolf smut? Anathem by Neil Stevenson opens with LOL. I read 11 pages of this. I don't care if I'm too dumb for this book. I just really don't care. Books that are impossible to understand without hurting your brain and have math appendices in the back are not for me. Okay, thanks. Blood Ties by Pamela Freeman. DNF. Put it down and never really felt like picking it back up again, ? I really liked how chill she was about murdering a dude, but then the story changed and it wasn't about her, so I too appreciate chill when murdering a dude. A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. DNF'd. These books are boring and long. I used to work a job that let me listen to audiobooks so I could tune out during the more tedious sections, but now that I would have to physically hold this book and read it myself, it's just never going to happen. Plus, my enthusiasm for Game of Thrones has died considerably since the show went to shit, and now this is just really never going to happen. Calm down. Gilded by Karina Cooper. DNF'd. Life's too short to read about a heroine you cannot stand. Alright. Of Poseidon by Anna Banks. This is Twilight with mermaids. The guys are creepy and misogynistic, and the plot revolves around, OMG, you kissed someone who wasn't me, and that makes me possessive and jealous, but author will make it come off as romantic. I was extremely disappointed. Cool. Mystic City by Theo Lawrence, which I don't remember reading. I'm really torn on this book. I love the fantasy world and found the ideas in the plot interesting. Evil, manipulative parents, rival political families, memory tampering. But the main character was an idiot. Throughout the entire plot, she's like, whatever could be going on? When it is so painfully obvious what is going on. It's just really hard to enjoy the book when you want to slap the main character all the way through it. Spoilers below. Apparently, be warned of the spoilers of this book that I honestly don't remember reading, like at all. At one point, she watches her dad shoot an innocent man in the face just to prove a point to his daughter that she shouldn't sneak out of the house anymore. She is shocked and appalled. Okay, fine. But a few chapters later, she's like, I mean, I know my dad isn't the best, but I never thought him capable of something so evil and cruel as this minor thing he just did. Really? Really? I might read the sequel just because I want to see what happens to the world, but I was really disappointed in the protagonist. Well, we didn't read the sequel. I'm not disappointed in that review, though. Level 2, The Memory Chronicles. I heard this author say in a panel that they had to change the name because people would see the 2 and think it was a sequel, which is exactly what I did when I picked this up. Okay, I remember being furious at this book because sometimes, as a writer, I anticipate where the book is going. I mean, I say as a writer, like that means something. Readers do that too. But I mean, like, as far as, like, story structure and just, like, I don't know, like, as I'm reading it, I'm imagining where I would take it if I was writing this book. And sometimes the story that I'm expecting is so good, and what I read is so bad. And I'm like... But I was so mad about this book. I didn't even talk about it in here because it's probably a lot of spoilers, but like it was setting up to be so cool and then it just was not cool at all. Incarnate. Oh, I remember hating this book. Incarnate by Jodi Meadows. Oh yes, let's do this. This book had an awesome premise and a beautiful cover. But in the end, it was just another tacky, paranormal romance about two people who fall instantly in love within days of meeting each other, and any hope of plot is tossed out the window as we are shown scene after scene after scene of these two falling all over each other. I love paranormal romance, but you gotta give me something else other than was drawn to him. No. The supposed plot of the book is that this girl wants to find out why she was born and whether it can happen again. Except all she does by way of uncovering the mystery is going to the library. And even then, she gets distracted by the pictures and journals of her love interest's past lives and spends all her time poring over these instead of researching. The characters in their relationship are pretty poorly written and kind of gross. Examples. 1. The main character has supposedly been abused her entire life, which makes her fearful of strangers and skittish during the first few chapters. But by the 1/3 mark of the book, that is all completely forgotten. It's not that her character grows or develops, but she starts acting like a totally different person. Number 2. When the protagonist was born, she replaced a woman who had been reincarnated over and over again and who the love interest had previously been in love with. Instead of exploring this complicated and delicate situation, the author has a big romantic moment where the love interest says that if he had been given the choice to kill his girlfriend's soul so he could meet this new chick, he would have chosen that new chick in a heartbeat. Monogamy. I'm sorry, but that is not sexy or romantic. I totally would have killed off the woman I loved if it meant that I got to meet you. No. If you were on a date with a guy, and this guy looks at you in this touching romantic moment, and he's like, you know, it's been so hard since my ex-girlfriend died in a car crash. But if going through all of that pain of her loss meant that I could be on this date right now, I'd kill her myself. And this is just because I'm a queer lady slash boy in the future. You don't know anything, child. But the author talks about how these souls are reincarnated into different bodies and are not the same gender every time around. This is a perfect opportunity to explore how love can transcend gender, and yet every single couple presented is heterosexual. The protagonist has some weird feelings about the fact that she's wearing a dress that belongs to her now male love interest, but that's about as far as it goes. Overall, great concept, extremely poorly executed. How much longer do I have to wait before the effects of Twilight fade and we can stop being force-fed this horrible crap? It cannot happen soon enough. I'm not sure Twilight's to blame for that so much as just bad writing. So I think we've had enough for today. If you want to pick a fight with me, don't.